Hi, and welcome back to the Domain Academy podcast. We're here for season 2, and this is going to be one of the most exciting podcasts you've ever seen if you're into domain investing. I can't wait to get started because we have a all-star guest list today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my co-host, James, and I'm going to let him tell a little bit about himself, and then we'll get started and introduce our guests. We'll talk about the premise and the rules of this next season.
Thanks, Joe. My name is James Isles. I'm the Domain Investment Community Manager at GoDaddy, and I've been there about 2.5 years. So I'm completely immersed in the world of domain investing, from interacting with brand new investors all the way up to the top pros. Before that, I was a blogger and content creator in the domain industry, while also having my own portfolio of domain names as well. So at my peak, I probably had about 1,500 names. But scaled that back massively over the years. So now I hold around 50 high quality names. I'm very excited to be here with such a stellar cast of domain investors as we talk about this $500 challenge and answering the question of what would you do if you were starting out in the domain industry with just $500. And with that, I'll turn it over to our first guest, which is Andrew Ollerman, to introduce himself.
Andrew Ollerman, I write Domain Name Wire. Been writing that for 20 years now, which gives you a little bit of an idea how long I've been investing in domains. Started registering domains in the late 90s when I was in college, basically to create websites. You know, this was kind of .com boom was percolating, and registered not nearly enough domains and not high quality enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't have become a blogger. I would have just counted my money. But yeah, so I have a portfolio of about 2,800 names right now. And that's, and I live outside of Seattle.
Where?
This small island, I don't know if you've heard of it, Mike. It's called Bainbridge Island.
There we go. Home of pickleball.
Who owns the .com?
Oh yeah, who does own the .com? I don't know. Check it out.
I've heard he's really cool. The guy who owns BainbridgeIsland.com. I've heard he's really cool. So he might be on this call, and it's not me.
Might be the mayor. All right, we're going to turn it over to Deepak to introduce himself.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Deepak Daftari. I'm from India. I started hobby domaining from 2005, started with .in, .co.in, upgraded myself, bought and sell. I'm essentially a trader, but now I'm trying to be a long-term investor. And then I went into full-time domaining after a couple of years when I really saw that this is a full-fledged industry. And I started reading more and more. And then I realized that what am I missing by not doing it full-time? So now I have a portfolio of close to around 1,000 names, but I like to go for quality rather than quantity. And apart from domaining, I do a lot of angel investments in India, primarily tech, deep tech, space tech, and I have a unicorn. So and I'm trying to learn from all of you here. So every day is a new learning.
All right. I think everybody is being very humble. So I'm gonna embellish your introductions in a bit. But we'll turn it over to Mike to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Seiger. I am the founder of DomainSherpa.com, which I sold to MediaOptions.com. I'm the founder of DNAcademy.com, which I learned everything about domain name investing from running DomainSherpa.com for about 5 years before starting DN Academy, and then had the wonderful opportunity to sell it to GoDaddy and work at GoDaddy for about a year with James and Joe and integrate it into the system. So I'm very proud to have DN Academy as part of the educational fabric of GoDaddy, as well as fantastic people like Joe running it and working with James in marketing. Prior to that, I've worked in corporate America for about a decade, then started my own company. I've run a number of online companies, primarily some in SaaS, mostly in publishing. Now I consider myself retired. I have about 79 domain names with the help of Afternic last week, helping me get a 12-month lease to own, second sale of the year, which is a good sell-through rate for somebody with a really small portfolio like mine. I feel like I'm closer to Deepak in picking names that are very targeted, that I feel really good about holding for a long period of time. Less about inventory and more about something that it says to me. maybe even something that I might want to build out someday. I've got a handful of really valuable domain names. Most of them are mid-tier domain names. And then I am what I call the governor of Bainbridge Island, because I don't actually do any work except for run BainbridgeIsland.com, but I get all the credit for Bainbridge Island whenever anybody comes out here. Nobody talks about city council or anything like that. So I publish BainbridgeIsland.com and just mess around with the AI and have fun doing some programming and investing. So I'm really looking forward to this competition. I feel like I am 100% outgunned by everybody here on the panel. So I'm gonna maybe have to change up my strategy and tactics for this competition, and it'll be fun to see how I might be able to outperform this group of awesome investors for the next year.
All right, I think it's going to be fun. Piyush, would like to
Hi, my name is Piyush Patel. Thank you for having me here. I'm based out in London. I accidentally got into domaining. I was eBay or Amazon in 2012. I bumped into domainsharper.com and I got obsessed with it. I watched all the episodes on it in a month, and then I blew up all $3,000 on my credit card. And funny enough, not knowing what to do next, I got into pharmaceutical industry and forgot about all my domains. And after 3 years, I realized that I lost all the money, and I looked at one of the domain that I bought, hand registered ecigarette.co.uk, because one of the Mike's episodes says, think about the future. And I bought that domain, forgot about it, did not realize, and it turned up on the DM journal. And it went for, I think, $15,000 to $23,000. And that got me back into it. And in 2017, I went back into it. I picked up my first domain. I think it was whiskeyking.com for $58 on Dropout. And I think within 2 or 3 years, I sold it for $10,000. And then saw history. I bought then another 500, dropped 200, then went back to quality. Then recently I sold unitedgames.com for $25,000, and it got me more excited. I'm moving towards now having from quantity to quality. I'd rather have 1 or 2, but brag worthy, instead of having lots of inventory and trying to reach out to a lot of people. So that's who I am.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush. It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
So my name's Joe. I've been GoDaddy for about 20 years, and in that time I've done a lot of different things. Running the Domain Academy right now, and before that I was running auctions, and I ran Premier Services. But I do investing on the side in a very small sense, and it's to keep an eye on the industry. You can't really get a good feel for the industry unless you're involved firsthand. I'm going to tell you about the contest that we've been alluding to, and what the rules are, and how exciting this is. And one of the things that makes this contest so exciting is that it's really good for anyone who's watching. So if you're just coming in and you're starting out and you think, how do I get started in domain investing? This contest is going to help you. And if you've been here, investing for a while and haven't made any sales, you're going to get to see strategies behind sales in this contest. So that's going to help you to improve your sales if you've been around for a while. And one of the things that I really think is exciting is that a lot of people think, well, I should have got involved when Andrew did, in the 90s, right? And then I would have great names. But you can get involved today and make sales. And that's one of the things that also, you need to know if you're going to be in domain investing, that you have to constantly be looking for new inventory. Trends change, terms change. So there's always opportunities. And that's one of the things that we want to get across in this contest too. So let me introduce the rules. We're going to have a contest among ourselves. It's going to be a year-long contest, and we are each starting with $500, and we have to see who can make the most money, starting with the $500 seed money that we provided everybody. Whatever GoDaddy sells, you're able to buy, and then resell those names. The way that you win the contest is through the highest dollar amount of resold domains. So if I were to buy a name for $50 on closeouts and then sell it for $3,000, and then reinvest that $3,000 into another name and sell that for $10,000, then I would have a total sale profit for the contest of $13,000, right? So I had a $10,000 sale and a $3,000 sale. So we're going to start out with $500, and we're going to try and make the most money possible at the end of the year. And throughout the year, we're going to check back in and kind of check progress on everyone. We're going to go through everybody's strategy individually. There's 6 people, and I'm sure there's probably 10 different strategies between the 6 people, right? So you get to learn everybody's strategy. We'll check in and see if our strategies are working or not, and you can follow along with that. We really hope that you root on the people that you want to succeed. Try and help them. Follow them on Twitter. I'm sure they would appreciate that. We're going to be as open as we can. We have a spreadsheet where we're putting all of our domain names that we're purchasing. We're going to go through the thought process that we have behind purchasing names. Why did we pick this name? How are we planning on selling it? What are we going to do? What worked? What didn't work? So you get to see everything, the good and the bad. Since James and I work at GoDaddy, we are only allowed to buy hand registration domain names, so names that are freely available. And we are also allowed to buy closeouts, and we're buying those closeouts only after they've been available at a price point for at least 12 hours. So that gives every other customer a chance to pick that up. So if you're waiting for a closeout to change from $30 to $11, James and I can't jump on that as soon as it changes to $11. We've got to give it the $11 price point for 12 hours, and then we're allowed to purchase it. I'd like to go around again and have everybody give just a general idea of what their plan is. You don't have to stick to it. It's not something that you have to, write in stone. And then when we circle back in a year from now, did we really even stick to that plan, or how much did things change? So I'd like to get it on record. I'll start first, since I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I'll give you some time to think. I'm going to try and find some hand reg I've been playing around with, and I'll show you this if it actually works. I've been playing around with AI a lot. I've been trying to reverse engineer sales that happen on Twitter using Grok to try and see if I can catch a trend in advance as it's starting to trend up. So I'll take you through that. It's been hit or miss. Grok's not great at reading pictures, and most people put pictures in their thing to say that they made a sale. They have a screenshot. But I'm trying to see if there are trends that I might be able to get ahead of to be able to sell as they're heating up. So maybe I can come in and get a name cheap and sell it cheap, but still have a profit maybe to another investor that wants to pick that up. And also look for hand reg opportunities. I'm also probably going to be doing some outbounding and playing around with that. I don't typically do that, so it would be a good thing to learn. I understand how to do it. I've done it before, but I will probably start reaching out because we have a short time period. Typically when I buy names, I plan on keeping them at least 5 years. But with this contest being a year, and the sooner you can get sales, the more money you have to be able to stack early on, the better. So my strategy would be to try and do some outbound early on. I'm gonna put James on the spot next, and then we'll go around.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actively bought any domain names outside of a few hand registrations. So over the past few days, I've been trying to ease my way back in by observing GoDaddy closeouts and putting some names on my watch list just to see which ones are being picked up at which price points. When it comes to my approach, I'm going to try and stick with what I know and what I know works best. So .com is the focus because it's got the highest sales volume on Afternic by far. Domains with between 5 and 12 characters, they have a higher sell-through rate at Afternic. So after 13 characters, it starts to drop down a little bit. So again, that's probably going to be my window of opportunity. And then certain keywords, so Afternic shares keywords every month. Andrew, I know that you cover this regularly and keep a track of these as well. But things like my, group, home, bet, health, they're all pretty common keywords in sales at Afternic. And then emerging trends, I'm keeping an eye on them, but I'm not confident with my timing on them. So things like AI and agent, and even the keyword deep, I think is trending at the moment. These are more speculative. So I'm going to have a look at them. A lot of them might not make it to closeouts where I can actually pick them up, but they could be potential quick flips or get higher sales prices on Afternic at the right points. That being said, the trend names do carry risk. Hopefully, if I pick some up, I'd sell them quickly, but I'm trying to play it a little bit safe. Hopefully that puts me in a position to win where I'm using the data that's out there. I'm using Domain Academy tools. I'm using maybe some AI along with that. I'm interested to see what we can do with AI and develop that into our workflows and strategies. But yeah, that's pretty much my strategy at the moment. If you come back to me in a year, that's probably turned on its head. That's where we are at the moment.
So this is tricky because I'm not a domain flipper. I don't do outbound. So, if I look at my portfolio, it's very rare that I buy and sell a domain within a 12-month period. So looking at that, I'll certainly focus on closeouts. That's something I do anyway. That's, the $50 and under domains on GoDaddy auctions. I'll also do some hand reg. It's even harder to sell a hand reg domain quickly unless you're posting it and going after trending words. But I've had some success with AI-based domain generators, so I can talk about those a little bit on the solo show. But I've registered a couple domains using those that I've sold within a year or two. So that'll be another thing I look at. And then also on the pricing standpoint, I'll price them differently than I normally do. Normally when I buy a closeout, I'll price it minimum 2,000 and then up to maybe 7,000 or 8,000. But in this case, because the goal is to get some sales, I'll definitely keep the prices much lower and then hopefully manage to sell one or two of those and be able to recycle that money into more domains. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. Again, maybe I'll play around a little bit with outbound because I think that's something that if you want to sell domains quickly, that's obviously a way to make that happen faster. But that's the approach I plan to take, and then we'll see how that ends up going.
Yeah, I think that's gonna change for a lot of people. And one thing I forgot to bring up, which we reference different tools, right? I'm going to be using the Domain Academy tools, and everybody on the podcast has the discount domain club so that they have access to Domain Academy and our tools. So we're going to be using those, and I'll show you those in the strategy session. It sounds like everybody else is going to be using those too. So I'm gonna turn it over next to Deepak.
I think I'm in the same boat as Andrew. My typical sales data shows that I have never sold a name except one in my entire career, which has been anything less than 2 to 3 years and as much as 4 to 5 years. So I think only during the meta phase, I sold metafinance.net, which was for $79, and I flipped it, I think, for $52,000 or $53,000 in 10 days. So that has been my only luck of selling a name quickly. But then this is war, and we are here to win, right? So I think so I'll probably focus on the closeouts. Look at .coms, .orgs. These are two of the areas I'm pretty comfortable with, not so much with .nets. I typically look at, as James said, anything from 5 characters to 12 characters. That's the sweet spot. I'm not that smart when it comes to trends, so I'll use the tried and tested philosophy which I've been using over the years of keywords, CPC, age. There are a lot of parameters I look at typically when I pick up a name. And I think outbound is definitely not my cup of tea. But then as Mike is planning, I'm planning to use the extensive social media following and maybe sell these $50 for $250 or $300 and try to give discounts to people and get the sales up. So that's the strategy for phase 1. I haven't thought through phase 2.
I think we need to add a rule here because Deepak has gotten his kids into domain investing. And
Yeah, you can't do outbounding by getting your kids to do all the emailing. That needs to be a rule.
and you also can't sell to a family member here. So that's another rule
Very
we're
good
going
point.
to add here. So.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Mike.
All right. The most important question is, what is the winner going to get? Is it just bragging rights? Like,
So,
are we going to be
unofficially-
emblazoned on the DN Academy website someplace? What's the deal?
unofficially, they will get a prize. It's going to be a trophy.
Oh, is it going to be
Basically-
bigger than the trophy Andrew has won at the pickleball tournament?
Let me
Oh,
see.
hold on. He's going to get it. All right, Joe. There's a minimum height requirement. It needs to be bigger than this trophy that Andrew's about to flash on the screen.
Oh, you know what? Actually, where's my
Okay,
other
maybe it can
pickleball
be bigger than
trophy?
that.
This one's the smaller of them, I think. But
We'll get it like Stanley Cup size.
Nice.
Yeah,
There we
so-
go.
so we're gonna get a trophy for the person who wins. I know Deepak is only doing this contest to get a mug, so everyone will get mugs, and
There we go, baby.
we will get. I'm trying to get us like either jackets or hoodies too. So we'll do that around the 6-month
Sweet.
check-in. But if there's somebody who's really leading at 6 months, maybe you'll get a bonus. So just keep it up. But the main person is going to get bragging rights and a trophy.
Well, bragging rights. Yes, that is the most important part.
Right.
So I was really excited when you guys presented this idea because as the founder of DN Academy, I've spent a lot of time thinking about how to try and help people brand new to the industry figure out how to turn their first dollar. Because once you actually experience a sale, everything feels different in the world. Your perspective changes, the domain names you're looking at changes, how you interact with companies that are buying the domain names changes. And so time to first dollar really matters. So what I want to try and do with this $500 is put myself in the position of a brand new investor and really walk through what my thinking is on how to use that money the best way. So I am definitely not going to buy a $450 domain name and blow a majority of the budget, because then you're just, putting all your eggs in one basket. I am going to do what pretty much everybody else has said, focus on closeouts. I am not going to do hand registrations because I'm just not that smart. I'm not good at following trends and seeing what's cutting edge. I'm not good at timing the market to figure out if it's going to pan out within a year, which is really what I'm focused on here, or for 3 years. And I think newer investors have a hard time doing that as well, because you're not sure what the really good base word should be on a new trend. So I'm not going to do those either. I'm going to do what James mentioned, 5 to 12 characters, 2 words primarily, unless one of the words is like a 2-word phrase, like credit card, let's say, right? So you wouldn't just have credit or card, it would be credit card. And then there might be like a suffix or a prefix like my or get, or it might be like, some other word paired with it that's an adjective. I am going to focus on pricing them at fair market retail. So if I pick up a domain for, say, $20, let's say it's like closeouts, I probably won't buy any $50 closeouts because it's $50 plus the reg fee. That puts us at 60 plus tax. I'll probably stick to closer to $11 closeouts, and then I'll probably price them at least $2,000 because a lot of people are talking about it doesn't matter if you price them at $1,000 or $2,000. If people are going to buy them retail, they're going to spend $2,000. But I am going to do outbound because it has been the bane of my existence. I know people succeed with outbound. I hate doing outbound. Years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago, I led an outbound class as part of DN Academy. It was an 8-week class where I brought in 7 people plus myself, and I had the best outbounders in the world helping out, giving instruction on different days. And I learned a lot. We practiced it. We did 10 to 20 outbounds per day. It was a lot of work. It was very discouraging. The one thing I did wrong, and this was like, 7+ years ago, is that we did new TLDs. So for example, .yoga or, I don't know, they were good TLDs, but they just weren't ripe yet at that time. And I think they fell on deaf ears. And so I'm going to be sticking to .com during this competition, doing some outbound, trying to get names that I think have a lot. It may lead me down the geo path where I might be doing, Memphis chiropractor, chiropractic, or something like that. So I'll have to see, but that's my general strategy for this competition right now.
I think one thing that you said that I really think we should key back in on is the hand reg, right? One of the reasons why I don't like it is because there's not a lot of data. There's not a lot of historic data around something that's new, right? So it makes it a lot easier for you to look at tools and see, is there demand for this name if it's been out in the marketplace or not? What other TLDs are registered, things like that. But I just want to key in on that because I think a lot of newer investors make a mistake and try and buy hand registration names thinking this is an unbelievable name. I can't believe nobody's bought this before. I'm going to buy this one and I'm going to buy like 500 names, and it's very, very hard to sell. So I just want to bring that up, watch the show, watch what we do and see, what works and what doesn't work, because more often than not, buying hand registration names is not going to be a good long-term viable strategy. So
yeah. Oh, and I forgot to say, I'm going to be using the power of my social network extensively. I am going to be looking for domain names to buy. When I sell, I might give great wholesale pricing and sell them on Afternic because I want to keep the money in the GoDaddy system. So buying, selling, yeah, it's all going to be in play, and I'm looking forward to publishing, wins along the way as well, or losses.
Piyush, what's your strategy?
So this is what I did. I've already invested all the $500, but I did something different, right? So I went on to Closeout. Generally, it is 10,000 names, so which is less than 1 million tokens. So I took that file, gave it to AI, and I asked it to pick 20 best names that make sense, either trending, not trending, and has got 2 letters or words or anything that makes sense. So it picked it for me, right? And as soon as it picked it out for me, I just bought 6 names, right? The name of the game is flip as fast as possible, because in 500 and got 1 year. From my experience, is 3 to 5 years. I have never sold anything within a year. So I thought, might as well just pick up if there's a better option. So I picked 6 or 7 names. And I approached already few people, and I said, look, these are $4,000 or $5,000 names. If you want to have it, I'll just give it to you for $500. I'm thinking, you know what? How many times a month I'm going to sit down and look for the name for that $500, right? So I thought, might as well just finish it off and see if I can flip it within a month or 2.
So you've spent all your money, and your game plan is that you're going to try and flip these to investors at a markup, but still wholesale value.
Correct.
All right.
I had one of the clients, and he bumped into me. He's into the property and this, that, and he showed me his car, and I said, look, change the name. And he goes, well, I said, look, you're a world-class guy. You're presenting the properties in the Dubai. It's all about luxury, right? So if you're presenting luxury, you need to have a luxury domain, right? And he was going to go for like .in for India, .co.uk for UK, for Dubai something. And I said, no, .com, and then just have listed like Zillow or Zoopla or whatever, but just have a .com and then just put all the country into it. So I've got potentially my first client, but I'm not sure yet.
Well, wait a second. You're buying these premium luxury names at closeout prices?
Well, I think so. I bought 2 names, which is, and I can just, if I'm allowed to, I can put it out here right now.
Okay,
I can tell you what I bought.
Yeah.
Okay, so I bought propertyjaguar.com. And I like that. It's 2 words, and anything that starts with property is hotcake. Realty is for United States, property is for UK, all the long.
Yeah.
And it was .com. So propertyjaguar.com was the first one, and it's coincidental and perfect time. And second one I picked was searchsa.com. In San Antonio, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, South Australia. Every one of those countries have got, or the cities have got SA. SA.gov will take you to San Antonio, right? So any property agent or estate agent in the United States, and I said, one of the guys had a call yesterday from Pennsylvania. I said, if you want to start in, I could give you something. You find out the real estate agents into San Antonio and tell them. Search SA would be the perfect branding for you. You would not go wrong, right? So that's how I picked the second one. The third one I bought kidsandcare.com. So many registration there. Again, it was in dropout. So
Kids and care.
not and, just and in the
N.
middle.
Kids and
kidsandcare.com.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there's a
So,
lot of child care centers like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they already have so many domains. Like Joe said, I used GoDaddy Academy tool, and I thought, you know what, this is perfect. So these are all in dropout. So I thought, you know what, they're all has got potential to sell. But if I have to wait for 2-3 years, I'd probably price at $2,000 to $5,000, all of them. But because we are in the race, probably I'd give it away like $500 and try and flip it as fast as possible. So these are my 3-star buy. I didn't make a mistake.
You were off to a
but
quick start.
Yeah.
Quick start.
Quick
But I said, I used AI. This is what I did. Because you're not going to go through to spend $500. You're not going to sit down every day in and out just to look for the perfect name. So I download whole file.
Mike is.
Put it into the AI.
Speak for
I am.
yourself, Mike is.
I am going to look every single day. I'm going to work on my skills and see what I can do. I might be going from like 79 domains up to like 80,000, like some of our friends.
But
did.
Mike is pseudo retired, you know, so you know.
I got the time in between pickleball games. Well, I'm interested to see who gets the very first sale out of
me
anybody
too.
here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think we should wrap it up. We're all having a good time. This is going to be a lot of fun. Next episode, check it out. We're going to talk about some of the names that we purchased, or if we didn't purchase any, what do we look at and why didn't we pull the trigger? So thanks for watching. And if you like and subscribe, you'll get alerts on any of the new videos we put out. Thanks.